welcome to the first episode of the Content Bebop. Today, I'm with my friend and photographer buddy dude.
How's it going, everybody?
Marc Leary.
That's my name. Don't know why that was so weird for you to say.
People go by different things sometimes.
Okay.
So here on the Content Bebop, man, this channel is about, I don't even know yet. It's about content creation for sure. But I'm thinking I want to stay away from gear talk as much as possible. Gear talk is cool. Everybody loves gear talk. But I feel like there's so much more to all this than just the gear. Like, I feel like it's just overemphasized, the gear. And I think some of this information would be a lot more helpful and more entertaining. Plus, I don't have no sponsorships to get free brand new Sony and Ronin cameras and stuff, DJI cameras when they come out, the day they come out. So I'm going with something else. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about content creation. Today we're talking about photography with Marc Leary. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Marc. I owner, CEO, main photographer of Marc Leary of Photography, as well as Blerdography. You can find me on YouTube under Blerdography, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I'm a photographer. I mainly do, headshots and stuff, but, I also obviously do cosplay photography. So.
Why cosplay photography?
Why not cosplay photography? Like,
there ain't no money in it. Why do you?
You.
All right.
Okay. So I do cosplay photography just because it's just something I love. If money was not an option and I could just pick one thing to do for the rest of my life, it would be take my camera, go to cons, and just shoot cosplayers and meet and shoot cosplayers and just have fun doing that. Obviously I'm a huge geek and it's just something I'm passionate about. I really don't know how to explain it other than I'm just passionate about cosplay photography. And I'm also like the artsy photographer. So like, it just, to me, those two just kind of go hand in hand together.
Oh, I feel you. Nothing wrong with that, man. It's all about doing what you love.
And you can make money doing cosplay photography. Just, that's a subject for another day.
You can. I mean, honestly, I think you can. Just the bar is just a little higher than other industries, Or is that true? You do it. You tell me. Correct me. I'm coming from ignorance. This is for the people that somebody else might be interested in it. AWA. We're here in Atlanta. Anime
Week in Atlanta. That's AYAWA.
Just happened.
Yeah,
right?
that just happened. Matter of fact, that was Halloween weekend.
You had a few shoots, right?
I had 4 shoots actually.
So let me shut up. You making it happen, right?
Yeah. But I ran a special and I have clients and I've been doing it for so long and I have a reputation build up stuff. So I'm able to go to a con and just post up and just get stuff because I put in the work behind the scenes. Like you said, there's no money in cosplay photography. I disagree with that. It just depends on how you go about making the money and who you're approaching as your client. A cosplayer is just a regular person. You charge what you would charge for a normal photo shoot. You just more passionate about that type of thing. So yeah, you don't have to, not make money. Like, matter of fact, the clients that don't nickel and dime me are the cosplayers. Everybody else nickel and dime me, or they try to get what they can get. Cosplayers, they come in, they ask how much, they say yes or no. But usually they just say yes because they already follow you and a fan of your artwork, so they just want to shoot with you for the sake of shooting with you. They'll pay it. It's there.
So I get why you choose cosplay photography. You obviously love it. So, but what separates cosplay photography from other forms of photography? Like regular portraits, like, I don't know, dog photography, sports photography. What's special someone should need to know about cosplay photography?
Well, personally, I think what separates cosplay photography from just any other niche or genre of photography is that it's new and it's interesting and it's growing. It's rapidly growing. That cosplay community itself has gone from more than just a couple of people who go to a con to just go dress up. It's its own movement. Cosplayers are high-profile influencers on social media. You get cosplayers going on shows and doing things for different companies and, just different charities and things because they already have their outfits. So, we need someone to come dressed up as Spider-Man to help us with this grand opening or to help us, talk to kids at a hospital or something like that. You know, a lot of cosplayers are going out and doing those things, and they need content to promote themselves. And a lot of cosplayers are not photographers. They're just regular people who put cosplay together or put money into a costume, however you choose to cosplay, and they want to just become the character. And with me being the geek that I am and just coming from my background, I want to personify those characters that they're becoming. I want, you know, hey, you are you as Peter Parker Spider-Man, and you're just doing your thing, and I just want to get into that and show it. Another thing, and I think this is the more interesting part of it, because it's such a new thing, it's a growing industry. I want to get in there and put my stamp on the door, or not stamp on the door, put my stamp on it to help that industry grow more, because it's going to be a bigger niche in the next couple of years. It's already grown so much over the last 10 years. You know, remember the first con you went to, and now we go to cons every year. Like, we go to cons every year to shoot cosplayers and just have fun and hang around people. So yeah, I think it's just a growing industry. There are people who do high-end cosplay photography. There are people who do it on the lower end, and just all across the board. And I'm like, when I saw it, I was just like, I just love this more than anything else. Like, yeah, you can make more money being a wedding photographer. You can make more money doing headshots. But when it comes to doing something that you love, you just can't put a price on it. And I know I'm not making a lot of money from it. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not making a lot of money from it, but
you living?
I'm living. I could be living better, but like I'm just passionate about it. I would do this for free anyway. I was doing it for free anyway, and I just found a way to make money off of it.
Oh yeah, I think that's the secret, finding something you would do for free.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which brings to the next question. So, art versus business. So
okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
How do you balance your art versus your business side? Like, especially with something you're so passionate about. How do you balance the two?
You can't. I'm gonna be honest. Just because I'm an artist, I went to art school. You know, I think artistically, everything, however I process things. But you can't balance it. If you're running a business, you have to run a business. Like,
I feel you.
Like, you know, and look at Andy Warhol, for example. He's probably one of the most famous modern conception painters out there at his time. And he's one of the lucky few that actually got to live in his success as he was, you know, living. Because most artists, they die. You know, Van Gogh died penniless. Rembrandt, all these, you know, famous artists we studied in art school and stuff, they all died penniless and only became famous in their death. So being an artist and trying to run a business, you can't do. You got to definitely figure out how to sell your art and be a business first and an artist second, because the art comes naturally to you, but the business part of it, no. You can be the best artist in the world, but that doesn't mean you're going to sell a picture.
That's true. That is so true.
You know, you got to find, like, you know, if you're a business-minded person first, you can go like, hey, I'm an artist. Let me go find a place to make money off of this art and sell myself first before I, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Makes sense to me, yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I used to be one of the people like, oh, you can be an artist and still be in business. No, you cannot.
You cannot.
Being an artist will kill you at being a business. With that said, I will add a caveat to that. If you are just business minded only and don't put a little bit of the artsy in it, you're not going to distinguish yourself, especially in the content business. If you are a content creator and you just strictly is business, and you don't try to put any creativity into what it is you do and differentiate yourself from your competition, then you're going to just kind of fall to the wayside too. So you need to be more business-minded. To answer your question, I guess, be more business-minded, but don't forget about the art. Keep it there, but just focus on the business part of it first.
So what would you put the split on? 75% business, 25 art, or 50-50? 75% art, a little bit of sprinkle of business?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
95% business, 5% art. And the reason why I say that is because, like, you know, let's just be honest. We go on YouTube, we go on the internet, we find photographers, videographers, other graphic designers, whoever, whose work is terrible, but they're making bank.
Yeah.
They are making bank.
They know how to market themselves.
And yeah, because they know how to market themselves. There's plenty of photographers I've come across who I can still to this day shoot circles around, but they make more money than me because they can market themselves better. They can show the value to their clientele, to the businesses they're working with, that, you know, hey, it's worth spending money with them. But me, oh, look how pretty and artsy my pictures are. Look at my shallow depth of field. Look at this bokeh. Look at these gels I've been using. And not a lot of that helps sell pictures because people don't know or care. Like, they may like it, but where's the value in that?
Yeah, yeah. So what are your opinions on gear? Like, how much emphasis do you put on it? Like, how important is your camera?
What emphasis do I put on gear? You know me. You personally know me, so you know how I feel about this. I don't think gear is that important. I really don't. And this is why. Because a lot of people, especially in photography, especially in the video game, they think all the best gear, oh, if I had this, the clients are going to come, or if I had this slider or whatever. I know I sound like flash film. But no, I don't think gear is that important because a lot of people don't even know how to use the gear that they have. So if you don't know how to use the stuff that you have, why keep buying more and more stuff and you're not going to master how to use all those tools? Because they're just tools. Like, you can have all the best lights and gear in the world, still make bad images, still make bad content. So learn what you have first and build up to what you need. Find ways around it. Like, you really only need a good lens and a decent camera body for most of the stuff that you do. Everything else is really just lighting. Like, you know, invest in some like good quality lights, invest in good quality audio gear if you're doing video, and a decent camera body and lens, and just go for it. You don't need all the bells and whistles. Trust me, I started with a T3i and borrowing equipment from friends who got tired of me borrowing equipment, and just ran with it. And even now, like, I have gear, but I only get gear if it's required for like a shoot. Like, if a client say, hey, I want to do this, this, and this, whatever, what do we need to get these shots? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need a new backdrop, I'm gonna need this, I'm gonna need that. Then I'll go in and evaluate, okay, should I go buy more gear now? Or can I get away with it? You know, and usually you can get away with it. And I'm going to be honest with you, the gear that I would recommend for you to buy is not even the stuff that people are even talking about. Like, the stuff that I've spent money on and bought that has made me more money is not even like the higher end cameras or anything. It's simple stuff, little gels to put on speed lights. Make so much money with that just because they're in my bag. I can use them every shoot. I pop it up. The client looks impressed. The pictures look impressing. There's just little $11 gels. Battery grip, definitely something that I bought that helped me. I don't want to say help my game, but like, it made my camera look bigger. Clients like, oh, look at that big bulky camera. It's still a T3i just with a battery grip on it. But with 2 batteries, I can shoot all day. I can shoot longer and just have a different grip on my camera. You know, simple stuff like that I would recommend over, oh, you need the new latest Sony camera. You need the latest whatever.
Are you big on name brands? Like flashes, you got to get the name brand flash. Or is a newer flash okay? Godox flash?
I stick with newer just because, like, Amazon, and, you know, cheap, because this is really expensive stuff. But I mean, I'm a Canon person. I just like the color spectrum of Canon versus Nikon and Sony as far as cameras and stuff. But that's it. Everything else, if you can use it and it works, just go for it. I don't care. I don't need Godox lights. As long as it light up my scene, fine, and work. Or what don't you agree?
Because I personally have been doing this for a while myself, so I've learned what items you can go cheap with and what items you cannot go cheap with. Some items it's okay to cut corners on. Some items you should not be cutting corners on.
Yeah, like if you're going lenses, don't cut corners on lenses. Don't get cheap lenses because you're gonna keep buying lenses, right?
Yeah.
But like simple stuff that don't matter. Yeah, I get you. I understand that. Okay.
Yes, yeah, but I'll be honest, I'm not that I'm like 100 years old or nothing, but I do feel like I've been doing it long enough to even see the cheap stuff get better over time. Remember those little cheap flashes?
Yeah.
Those little cheap. I can't remember the name brand of these flashes. I gotta look
The
it up.
Yongu flashes.
Not cheaper than those. They were like $20 for a set of flashes, and you put it on your camera. You get 2 triggers. They actually were great until something went wrong. Which they had like little internal batteries in them
Yeah, I know
that
what
you
you're
could
talking
not
about.
change out.
Yeah.
So when it died, the whole unit was just done for. But now I recently bought one a couple like last year. Now they have like on off switches on the side. You can actually turn it off now.
Right.
And you can replace the battery, and it comes with an extra battery, and they're the same price. They're still like around $20.
Right.
Last I checked. But I'm like, dang, even the cheap stuff, because it's like Pocket Wizards, I think, are like the top brand.
Right.
When it comes to triggers, which I can't remember how much they cost, but they were exponentially higher than these little $20 ones. But the $20 ones have never failed me on a set, other than this time. Like I said, they just go out in time. But
I've had the cheaper ones fail on me, but that was back long years ago. Like the ones I have now, because I have the same set you have. Works like a charm. Actually works better than it should work, because like
this is crazy how great they are.
Right, because I actually did buy actual model studio lights, Goldog lights, and those same triggers work on those lights, which they should, but it's all built in internally on those lights. So like I love it. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't have to buy it, because I thought I had to go out and buy like the higher end stuff just to use the new lights I got, because they didn't come with triggers. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to say this when it comes to gear. Don't go out and just get gear, especially out of your own pocket. Only get gear when clients are paying for it. Not saying like you go charge a client what a new lens would cost, something like that. But like if a client's paying you money, take that money, reinvest it back in your business. Don't go out of pocket to buy your own gear, and don't go gear you don't need for that next shoot. Only get the gear you need for the next shoot.
Yeah. Have your camera pay for your next camera. Right?
Yeah. Have your camera pay for your next camera. Have your gig pay for your next set of gear for the next gig. That's the motto I try to go by.
Yeah. Shout out to Flash Film Academy. But so okay, switching lanes from gear, because again, oh my god, gear, man, so overemphasized when there's so many factors to a shoot. Like, because again, most of the time you buy decent gear, you buy a decent brand camera, you buy decent gear, it ain't gonna fail you. It's more so you not being prepared, not knowing what you're doing, not having redundancy, like having one flash, and not in case it don't go out, you don't have a backup set of flashes, bringing one tripod and leaving a plate. It's so much to a shoot that people overemphasize the gear, I feel like.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I do want to emphasize, is preparedness on shoots. So if you are beginning, starting out to do whatever it is you do, take the time to look at behind the scenes footage of other photographers, videographers, or whoever, just to see not only the gear they have, but how they use the gear. And just the redundancy that you need when it comes to being on set. Like I do photography, so I make sure I have speed lights. I make sure I have my studio lights. If you don't have 2 cameras, you don't have 1 camera. I like that phrase a lot. Just make sure you have your redundancy. So if you have gear and you got 1 camera, you only got 1 light, look at what you need to just operate more efficiently. Because what are you going to do when the light goes out? What are you going to do if your client puts a hole in your backdrop? That's happened to me before.
Yeah.
Don't even understand how that happened. How you put a hole in the backdrop and you whatever. Just brought back a memory. I'm sorry. Just a memory.
Good, I know.
Weird things happen on shoots.
They do. That's why you have to be prepared.
Yeah. So just when it comes to gear, just use what you got. That's all I can say. Just use what you got.
Yeah, man.
Or go rent what you need.
Yeah, people play around with renting. They don't take it. They don't realize how important that is.
No, yeah, that should be a whole podcast episode by itself. But definitely, like, especially like just mediocre stuff. What is the saying? Date the body, marry the lens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all you need. Everything else, go rent it. Just go rent it. For fun, go rent stuff and just play around with it. And matter of fact, if there is gear out there you want to buy that you just have to get, go rent it first, play around with it for a weekend, and then make that decision. It's probably going to spend extra money. Whatever. What's the next question?
The next question is, okay, so what separates you, man? What makes you different from the next cosplay photographer? Is it the fact that you're the only one out here, or is it the fact that you do something different?
Well, first of all, there are thousands of cosplay photographers. It just depends on what your definition of a photographer is. For me, what makes me different? I know.
Get it out.
Differentiates. Differentiates.
Mm-hmm.
What differentiates me from other cosplay photographers is I like to provide a service, because I'm more than just a photographer. I'm showing up with all my gear and everything. I'm providing an experience to the cosplayer, to the subject, to the client. And this goes beyond just cosplay photography. This is anything. You are providing an experience. You have a client, someone that's paying you money. They want to feel special, especially in photography. They're all dolled up. They look good. They ready to get some pictures done. So you got to provide them that atmosphere, that experience. Have the music that they want to listen to that makes them comfortable. Have, just get them talking and get them engaged in what's happening. Explain to them, like, why are you doing certain shots? Why are you getting down low on the ground? Whatever. I just like to make it an experience. I even have my clients bring people with them, get on their phones and like do shout outs, do whatever on social media, tag Blerdography or Marc Leary of Photography, whatever, and just do whatever. I encourage all that. So it's really, I think, the experience. And I think a lot of content creators, a lot of people, photographers, videographers, they don't think about it like that.
You're right. I think a lot of us forget, because we do it so often, that it's a new experience for the client or the person we're shooting. Like we forget that this is something special to them. It's not just they're paying money to get some pictures. Like you said, it's an experience. You know, like they don't see lights and get attention. People love attention. Yeah. Like people definitely love attention. And you have a person in front of you with a camera, with a big lens pointing it at you, telling you look great. That's amazing. You look awesome. You look beautiful, or whatever. It can make you feel great, and you get especially at a convention or something. You got a crowd. You're already feeling good because you have your costume on. Maybe you're not sure of yourself, and you walked out with your cosplay. Now someone's reaffirming that you do look great. You look amazing. It was a great job on your cosplay.
I think I'm so happy you mentioned that, because I hear that a lot, especially from my first time cosplay photographer clients. I come across a lot of people who've been doing cosplay for years, but for one reason or another, they're self-conscious about their body or how they look in cosplay, or maybe it is their first time doing cosplay and then they want to do a photo shoot. You gotta, you kind of put on a weird precipice. Like, you got to make this entertaining for them so they feel good about themselves, and at the same time you still got to put up or shut up and make sure everything's on point. Because I've had bad cosplay shoots before, and I've had really good ones, but I try to just make sure that you are energetic. I try to make it about you, because ultimately what I'm doing is creating a story. I'm not just taking pictures of you in cosplay. I'm creating a story, a memory that you are going to have, that we are going to have. You're going to look back on that photo shoot day. Yeah, you'll see the pictures, but you're going to look back at the lights were there and all the eyes were on you. So you got to sell that experience, and people like that experience. And another reason why I'm glad you brought that up, I notice cosplayers, this is not a bad thing when I say this, but cosplayers love attention. Like, they do it for the attention. Right, a lot of them do. So when you go to a con, of course, you always ask permission. You don't just take pictures of anybody. Always ask permission. Even if they're already getting pictures taken, you always ask for permission. Can't say that enough. But yeah, I forgot what I was going with this. But yeah, when you're at a con and you're taking pictures of somebody and it's their first time in cosplay, and you're Spike from Cowboy Bebop, you look great, and you just gotta have that shot for your own collection. Mm-hmm. You're making that person feel good, and they're gonna remember that. And if you got a shirt on with your logo and hand them a business card, 3 months later, they're more than likely going to hit you up and like, hey, remember me? I was that guy at this con, and it was my first time cosplaying. And out of all the people that took my pictures, you was the only one that made me feel special. And then you got a client.
Yeah,
that's not quite where I was trying to go with that story, but you know,
I feel like we got the gist of it.
You get the gist of it. Just make them feel special. And it doesn't matter what it is you're shooting, who you're shooting. If you got a camera and a lens and you pointing at somebody, just make them feel special.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that. I've seen other photographers and videographers shoot. They do not do what I do.
I've been to one of your shoots and I totally agree. I think this is my personal opinion. I'm gonna say it out publicly, but I think you are much better at giving an experience than taking pictures sometimes. And that's not a down on your pictures. I'm just saying you're so good at giving an experience. Like, you're great at that. Like, I'm behind you holding up a whatever for you. I'm just holding up something or holding a stand, and I'm laughing. I'm like, this dude's funny. You know, like, forget how the pictures even turn out. I'm like having a good, as a client, I'm thinking in my head, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as they're in focus and I'm looking the way I should look, I'm looking good.
Sometimes
I should be happy.
Sometimes if you had a good experience and the pictures are bad, you can
even fix it from that.
Yeah, you can fix it from that. As long as the experience was good, there you're going to, because I've had a lot of those too. Pictures terrible, but hey, we had so much fun on the shoot. Don't matter. We're gonna come back because I know you're gonna get it right. And you're gonna have a bad day on a shoot.
That happens.
That happens. You just gotta move forward and move on. But as long as the experience is good, as long as you made the client happy at the end of the day, you can salvage a bad shoot.
Right.
Things like that.
So moving on so you said the magic word, failures, right? So tell me about one of the biggest failures you've had on a cosplay shoot. Like, what can go wrong? What could go wrong? Like, all you do is press a button. What could go wrong?
Oh my God, I hate that when people say that. All you do is press a button. Like, do you know the rule of thirds? So failure. You don't grow unless you fail.
True.
You gotta fail. You gotta fall on your face. You gotta almost accidentally have a light fall on the client before you kind of gotta, like, okay, I gotta get certain stuff together. I gotta be prepared and go back to the redundancy thing. You just got to be prepared. I've had failures on a lot of shoots. More recently, especially at a big convention, I stupidly used gear that I haven't used ever before, somebody else's lens, because I was like, it's just going to be easy to just do this whole con and just use this one lens. But I've never used it before, so I had a lot of issues. It had a polarizer lens on it. That was kind of messing up a lot of my things. So I was like, okay, I never worked with a polarizing lens or thought about it like that. Focus points were messing up, and it just none of the images were sharp or whatever. But that's what I chose, and I had to learn from that mistake to just not go gung ho and just go for it. And I struggled. Like, it was a big con, and I kind of struggled, but I got through it and was able to get at least some good pictures out of it. Not 100% good across the board, but I got some decent quality work I can put on my website and be proud of.
All right, yeah.
But yeah, I guess the main thing I want to say about failure is, in order to grow, you got to fail. Don't be afraid of it. Do not be afraid of failure, because if you fail, you only know what to do right next time, right?
Oh, that's so true, man. People do it a lot. They're afraid to fail, not realizing that's the only way you're going to learn. How else are you going to learn? Like, that's literally the only way to learn something. Right. Other than reading about it in a book. But
even still, you can read it. Yeah, if you ain't out there practicing what you're learning and stuff like that, you're still going to fail.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest, like, you should look forward to failing. Not like, I'm going to fail and, that's just the end, because it's just a learning lesson. Look forward to failure, because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And it's nothing but a learning lesson. Just don't be afraid of it. If you have a bad shoot, find out why you had a bad shoot. What was it? Was it your attitude? Was it the pictures? Was the client not happy? Were you not giving a good experience? Were you not giving good customer service? Did you say something that offended somebody? Figure it out. Every no leads to a yes if you're willing to find out why.
Yeah, exactly. Man, you put down a T-shirt. That's true. That's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Trademark.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. People are afraid to fail. not knowing that that's really the only way to really learn in life. Okay.
I did want to ask you something since you brought on the last question, but you kind of scooted a little too quick.
What you got? My bad.
All right. You said you've been on shoots with me. You've been on plenty of shoots.
Yeah.
And you see me work with people.
I have, yeah.
Give me one of those stories where you thought something was going to happen, or how can I say this? What was one of those times where you've been on a shoot with me and you just had fun when you was helping me and you just saw how I was interacting with people?
Oh man.
And the Avatar shoot at Dragon Con is too obvious.
Yeah, that was the one I was gonna go with.
Okay.
Honestly, that's the one I was going to.
All right, well,
with.
go for it. Go for it.
Dang, hold on. I might give me a second. Let me think. Because I mean, you're right. I've been on a few, but I'm trying to think. You know what, man? I'm gonna just go with it because honestly, I would sit for the next like 5 minutes trying to think. But
yeah.
And this one was recent. So yeah, the Avatar shoot at Dragon Con. Just the way you handled the group, because it was a group shot. I don't even know really I didn't know the details. Like I don't know who paid. What was it supposed to be a single shot, or was it only 2 people that paid? I don't know. I'm just speaking from someone that showed up to help you. And yeah, just the way you handled the people was great. I saw everybody was in a good mood. It helps to know. I could tell you were passionate about it because you obviously watched Avatar, so you know the characters. You knew the characters. You knew the content of which they were cosplaying as, so you could help come up with poses. You know what I mean? You knew to put. I haven't seen Avatar, but you knew to put this character with this character because they obviously have some in the movie.
Right.
In the
show, they have relationships. Yeah.
Right. Which the average person wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what to do with an Avatar shoot. You know, I could shoot it well.
Right.
But I would be putting like, you know,
waterbenders, right?
The cabbage dude from the shoot. I don't know. You know, I don't even know if they have a relationship with that. I'm assuming they don't. So I mean, I would just be putting random characters together, and everybody be like, "What is this guy doing?" The pictures look great, but this doesn't go with this. So that's like another layer you have as a cosplay photographer, right? You have to actually, to some degree, know what you're shooting and who you're shooting. So I guess this leads to my next question. So what do you do to prepare for a shoot? Do you often run into cosplayers and you don't know what anime or what show or game this is from?
Yes, I do that a lot. So for the answer to the first part of the question is, what do I do to prepare for a cosplay shoot? Obviously, you watch the series that they're cosplaying or play the game or whatever from the character that they're cosplaying as, so you can get a better idea and understanding of, especially in a group shoot, if it's like a whole show of people and they're all different characters, you need to go watch that whatever so you can figure it out.
Right.
What do I do when I come across cosplayers and I'm not familiar with it? I go watch that show. There's a shoot you did with me for AWA, I think back in 2017. It was a Hunter x Hunter cosplay shoot. I've never seen, watched, or heard of Hunter x Hunter outside of scrolling by it on Netflix and like, oh, I'll never watch this show. But I got booked for it within a week of having to do the shoot. Never seen the anime, so I binge watched like the first 50 episodes of the original Hunter x Hunter series. Found out that they did a modern version of it, so I binge watched 50 episodes of that to kind of compare. And then I talked with the cosplayer, and I just straight up told him, like, hey, even though I'm this huge geek, I have no clue about this. Also had the same issue the next day with the JoJo Bizarre Adventures cosplayers. Oh, yeah. Never seen that before.
I haven't seen that.
And when I did watch it, it was one random anime episode on Cartoon Network, someone with a pig in the toilet. I was like, oh, this is so weird. But, you know, I just was honest. I was like, hey, I don't know a lot about this. It would help if you give me some guidance, or you can show me some reference pictures, some tidbits, and just kind of help me. In the case of Hunter x Hunter, I knew about that enough time in advance to kind of prepare for it and take notes. Yeah. And still was honest with the people who hired me for that, and was like, you know, and they understood, and they was like, hey, so while we was doing the shoot, it took a little longer, but they was explaining certain characters and things, and I was getting to know all those cosplayers in the process of doing that and setting up those shots. And just getting, you know, making engaging conversations with them that way. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, I'm going to be honest, homegirl who hired me, she just did it.
Oh, really?
Because I could not, I only watched one episode, and I was like, I haven't, that anime has like 7 different arcs, and they had
Yeah, it
everybody
does,
from
right? It's a
all
lot of
arcs,
different-
and I was
yeah.
like, okay, this is just too much. I can't. There's no way I'll be able to do that one. But mostly, like, I'm a geek. I'm gonna watch a lot of nerd stuff anyway. I play video games. There's stuff that I like, especially if it's something that I already like and 100% familiar with. Power Rangers, Pokemon, Avatar, anything like that.
Yeah.
Anything comic book related. I don't need to research because I already know it.
I feel like most stuff you would probably already know. But
Most
every once
stuff.
in a while, there's a show you probably just
No,
don't
there's
know.
some stuff like even just last weekend with AWA 2021. The pictures I showed you, I don't really watch My Hero Academia, so I didn't know a lot about that.
It's pretty big right now.
It is really big. I've never seen Demon Slayer. Didn't know anything about that, and I just had people who was like, "Hey, can you shoot me? Can you shoot me? Can you shoot me? How much?" And I just worked with it. And while we shooting, I just said, "Hey, I'm not familiar with this character. Oh, well, let me tell you about this character. They do this and do this." And while they explain the character to me, I'm just sniping shots because they're just go ahead and getting into poses. That's another thing too. I don't know why I come across this a lot. Cosplayers who design their cosplay off characters they like, who know all of the characters' moves and poses or whatever, but they themselves get in front of the camera and just draw blank. Like they studied all night for a test and they can't. They get in front of the camera and like, oh, I don't know what to do. So
Maybe they're a little nervous. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's that. It's definitely that. Some people they just it's just not there with them. Like they'll do everything, but as soon as you put a camera on them, they just nothing. But yeah, for those people, you know, it helps to be nerdy and to just be a geek and approach them on their level. Like, hey, let's just talk about it, and you just explain it to me. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna just snipe out my shots and then start photo shoot.
What techniques do you use to like make people feel more comfortable on set?
Obviously, you know, making it about them, like getting what their favorite snacks are, getting, you know, whatever music they like to listen to, especially with cosplayers. I always make sure that the cosplayer brings somebody that they are comfortable and familiar with, especially.
That's key, yeah.
Yeah, especially if we're shooting for the first time. I prefer you bring someone with you to the shoot with me for your safety, for my safety, for whatever reason, but mainly so you just feel comfortable, because if you're uncomfortable, it's going to show up on camera.
Yeah, it does.
So you know, I try to just make sure that my cosplayers are as comfortable as possible. Some cosplayers ask for, hey, can we take a few shots or whatever before we start shooting?
Yeah.
Cool. If I got it or we can get it done. I've had a lot of weird stuff happen at shoots.
I'm sure.
Stuff I can't say on your podcast. A lot of weird stuff, man.
I'm sure.
Oh my god.
I've been to some of this stuff, so I understand.
The stuff you haven't been to.
Yes.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm sure you go on the shoots and one thing you expecting one thing and then something completely different happen. You're like,
completely different happens. Yep. I understand.
Yeah. It's like when some people get in front of the camera, the freak come out.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with nerds and freaky stuff, but apparently they go hand in hand. Something.
I don't know if you're gonna have after hours, but yes, the nerds. I don't want to say it derogatory, but the geeks are freaks.
They are. It's crazy. Yes, it's so weird. Dragon Con is always an interesting adventure. Anyway, moving on. So
you weren't even there. You weren't even there for that stuff that happened at MomoCon that year.
I was not, but I've been to MomoCon and had some weird stuff happen.
Or were you there for that? No, you wasn't there for that. I don't think you was there for that.
I think so, because I only been to one MomoCon.
Okay, yeah, you definitely wasn't there for that then.
Moving on, cosplay photography. What other forms of photography what does that transition to? Like, does it? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. If I was a cosplay photographer and I was interested in doing, just making a little extra money or making or if it's a business, expanding the business or doing more to make more money, to get out there more, what could I do? What industries or what niches can flow over or closely connected? Because I don't see weddings. I don't see wedding photography. Maybe portraits. Maybe some headshots.
Okay, I get what you're going at. I
Maybe
get what you're going at now.
you could do video. You know what I mean? Maybe like a cool video or green shots to up things up. Like, you know, like what other niches or what else can you do? What does that flow over into? Like boudoir or something like that?
Well, so I get where you're coming from on the, I guess, more on the technical side of like where to go. I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes, especially like photography, I'm just speaking on the photography standpoint. If you can light a scene and paint someone with light and make it sharp and focus, you can take that across the board and do weddings.
True. I mean, this is true.
You know, pets, families, portraits, headshots, whatever. So to answer your question, I think you can kind of do everything with it if you want to. It is a growing industry. Obviously, millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha are the biggest geek generations, and we're growing. So this is only getting bigger and bigger as people get older and older. I've seen high-end fashion cosplay photography. I've seen magazine shoots with cosplayers and
really?
spreads and things like that.
Cool.
Yeah. I think I've seen Marvel do a cosplay spread in something before.
Yeah, okay, I could see that.
And obviously with superhero movies and the genre of movies that's popular now, you can take that and go to different businesses and do things, especially if you already have a clientele of cosplayers.
Yeah.
It won't be nothing for you to organize those cosplayers and then go to a business and say, hey, I have a bunch of cosplayers who already have their costumes and stuff, and you have this thing that you need cosplayers for, or you need people in costumes for.
Oh yeah,
let's link the two together.
Yeah.
Even just being paid by different studios or different companies to go to cons to just get footage of cosplayers or whatever for whatever their purposes are. Remember that last time, not before the world ended, BET was at Dragon Con doing stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I knew one of the shooters there. Yeah, the guy.
And you knew one. Yeah, you knew the guy that was shooting. But like I've never seen Dragon Con or anything nerd related on BET before. So like businesses are catering to nerd culture more now. So like even though I feel like we talk about this behind the scenes, but I feel like the superhero movie genre is dying out, nerd culture is getting bigger and bigger, and it's not going away anytime soon because the generations that grew up on nerd culture, the 80s, 90s, 2000s, we're all adults now. We all got money. We're all spending stuff. So I think cosplay photography is actually just going to get bigger and bigger and bleed into other things. One thing that I personally want to do, one of my personal goals as a cosplay photographer, is to shoot a cosplay wedding. And they are out there. Cool. They are out there. Matter of fact, I don't think you know him, but a friend of mine from college, Kenneth.
Yeah, I know Kenneth. Wedding. Yeah, he was like a Jedi thing. Wedding.
Yeah. Did you go?
Wow. I didn't go. I remember him asking me questions about it. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And matter of fact, before the world ended at that Dragon Con, I happened to walk up on a cosplay wedding that they were doing one day on the photo shoot steps. Or I think they got proposed or something, but people are doing it. People are tying in nerd culture into just everyday life. So I know how you feel about cosplay photography, but I promise
I just be joking, man. I mean, if you make it work, great. I'm just kind of, I'm coming from a standpoint of not a lot of people really a lot of people don't think of cosplay photography when they think of I want to become a photographer. Most people think of weddings, you doing headshots, you doing events, the basics. I
mean, I get that, and it's not like I got into photography to only do cosplay, because that's not how I got into any of this. If you remember, because you was there, it was just trying to do something different and wanting to be an artist, because I went to art school and was no longer doing art anymore. And I was like, I need to do something creative, because that's just what my outlet is. And you introduced me into being behind the camera and doing photography, and other people, had their parts to play in it. And from there, I just started learning how to take a picture, and then it went from how do I take a picture of a subject? How do I use light? Which one of my friends can come and do a makeshift photo shoot so I can learn and practice? Just so happened a lot of my friends were already cosplayers, and they was like, oh, let me get a few shots of me in the Spider-Man gear or something. And that's just kind of how that started. And then, you know, I got a camera. I'm going to a convention. I know how to do photography now. 2015 was an amazing year where 2 + 2 = 4. And I was like, oh, my God, I can put these two together and do this? Yeah. So that's what that was.
Cool.
I don't even know if that was one of your questions you meant to ask.
I don't know either, but it was good.
Okay.
It makes sense. Yeah, I followed you, though. It was good.
So, yeah, you don't just get into cosplay photography. It was just there on the table, and I was like, I like doing this more than I like doing that. Because I do a lot of different photography. I've shot a wedding. It was terrible. I do headshots. I do events and
Why was it terrible?
I didn't know a lot about photography.
Oh, at the time when you did
at the time, this was years ago. This was like, I'll just do it for free just because I need to work type of thing, and it was bad. I was like,
sorry to hear that.
It's fine. I mean, you got to fail to grow.
That's true.
And I failed badly. Luckily, I wasn't the main shooter at that wedding, so it worked out.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But yeah. Live and you learn.
So kind of on that same subject. So did you go to school, or you went to school, but did you go for photography? Like
I did not. I'm so glad you asked that question. Because I have an opinion about that. But I went to art school. I went to art school for animation and media arts, and then from there I transferred to another school that wasn't art school, but I did video game design and programming. None of those have nothing to do with photography. I'm 100% self-taught when it comes to photography. YouTube University. I don't recommend YouTube University. Please get Skillshare, Linda.
I think I like YouTube University. I like it to a degree. I think it's a great running, like, a good place. On like a plane, like it's a good place to like start before the wheels take off.
Right.
When your wheels taking off, it's time to like
you need more direction.
Courses, go get a mentor. More because you also pick up people's bad habits on YouTube.
True. You also are lost looking for what's next and trying to stay focused.
Yeah, you have a hard time. I think that's been my personal problem. Sometimes I get analysis paralysis. I get on YouTube and I just get lost in the studying of how to do something.
Right.
Because I didn't watch 50 videos on how to start something and ain't started not one thing yet.
Right. Yeah. So, There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
So yeah.
And another thing I'll say, so like I said, I'm self-taught when it comes to the photography thing. But you got to have that determination. I think the reason why I went so head over heels into photography was because it was like that one thing that reminded me of why I'm an artist. You remember I used to draw a lot. I was great at drawing. I don't want to say great.
You was all right.
I was all right. Yeah, I was all right.
There you go.
But like I used to carry a sketchbook with me every day. Yeah. Every time you saw me, I'll be drawing, listening to music, whatever. Fill up, sketchbooks in a week. And when I started taking pictures, it felt like that. It felt like that one thing where I'll be up all night just watching Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo, listening to music, just drawing and stuff. It just reminded me of that passion thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
You didn't? I thought I told you.
No, I don't.
Okay. But yeah, it's just it's
cool.
Yeah, that's why like when you ask me how come I don't try to do more video stuff, even though I am doing that now, it's because photography is something there that I'm just so passionate about that brings me back to that core of why I'm an artist.
I hear you.
And that's why I stick with it, because I like that more than video, because I don't get that same feeling when I do video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I know because they're the same. You should.
No, they're not the same. I mean, they correlate, but they're not. They are not.
They're not the same. But yeah, like when I'm doing video projects, I don't have that same. I just 100% love this and will do this for the rest of my life, like I am when I'm editing pictures. And I really don't know how else to explain it other than like it's just this one thing, core thing that I just find so fascinating about that I don't get from anything else unless I pick up a pencil and draw again.
So what's like your favorite part about photography? Like what's the best part? The gear, the interacting with people, the lighting, the editing? If you have to pick something, you can't say everything. What's
What's
your
the thing?
I know you're gonna say everything. I know.
I mean, because you get different highs from different stages of the process, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Like, I get a high when I deliver pictures to a client. I deliver final images, and the client like, oh my god, these look so amazing, even though they look like crap. I don't want to say my work looks like crap, but sometimes it's happened. But like, people don't know stuff. But there's a high when you deliver images and the client is happy. There's a high you get when you're in a photo shoot and you're shooting with someone you've never shot with before. Or there's a different high you get when you shot with this person 7,000 times and you're still getting money shots because y'all just work so well together. There's a glee I feel when I'm editing that, again, reminds me of back when I was drawing and I would sit there and start shading and doing all the different techniques that you learn as you learn how to draw. I get that when I'm in Lightroom and Photoshop editing, like, oh, I can do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this double exposure thing. It's just, I know you said don't say everything, but it's just there's different parts. There are different highs to it all.
Okay.
But if I had to pick one,
If you had to pick one,
if I had to pick one, it's when you hear that cha-ching in the bank account.
All right.
That's hands down my most favorite part about it.
Non-artsy answer. Okay. All right. Well, I do hear you on that. I enjoy that part as well. Okay. Well,
that's the part that gets you to do it again.
Well, okay. Let's say if you can't choose the cha-ching part, I didn't even see that as an answer. You kind of tricked me on that one. But if you can't choose the cha-ching part, what part about it makes you want to do the next shoot? If it's not, other than getting paid, we all like getting paid.
Okay.
We like lights being on. So I mean, what part of the process do you enjoy the most? The actual
ego.
shooting?
The ego.
Oh, okay.
Let me explain. So if you got a camera and you got on all black, you can almost open any door you come across your way.
Yeah.
We've been on sets and shoots and stuff has happened and people look at us like we run the show. Like when people see you and you like as they see you as a photographer, not like, oh, you just some guy with a camera or whatever. When they actually see you for what you are, that ego just go all the way up.
Oh, okay.
I'm an egotistical person.
Yeah,
so.
You are. I noticed that too. But yeah, on sets.
Oh yeah. Like the Avatar shoot, they kept feeding me, and I kept going up, and I kept feeding them, and I kept going up, and I was like, this is the best freaking shoot we done did ever. Just go like that. But yeah, I know. I still didn't give you the answer you wanted.
No, you said the ego. I mean, I guess I'm gonna take that as the actual shooting. So you like being there on set, quote unquote, or wherever the shoot is happening. You like being there on set, the actual production of the shoot.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I like being on production, if you want to call it that. I like being on production. I like feeling like I belong because you look like you belong and you actually know what you're doing.
Okay. I'm sure there's a word for all this, and neither one of us are figuring it out. But you like that. You like having a purpose. Is that the thing? Having a purpose or being respected for being a professional in your field? Like along those lines. Like that?
Yeah. You can say it like that. Again, I say it's the ego thing because I know a lot of photographers. If you ain't got an ego, you ain't a good photographer.
Yeah, a lot of y'all are like that. I hear a lot of artsy people are like that.
What's wrong with that?
Because
you have it too.
It ain't just me, but I don't let it go over my head. I mean, I do believe in on set or whatever we doing or whatever. People just playing their role. Like if it's a director, let the director be the director.
Right.
For DP or photographer, let the photographer do the photography. Let him do his thing.
Okay.
People that get on my nerves when people are overstepping. So I don't want that to get confused with me having an ego. If I'm here to direct, just let me direct. Let me do it.
Okay.
Don't step on, PA. You go over there and go get lunch for everybody. Be quiet.
So I get the difference because when you're on set, you're on set with a lot of people. When I'm on set, it's just me and this client.
Right.
So it's just a different experience in that sense.
Yeah.
So I understand why you get that, why you gave that answer. Cool.
Okay, yeah. But I see what you're saying too, because there's a less people in your way. If there's anybody, it's just an assistant. He's just here to hold a reflector.
Yeah, you are the one in charge. All eyes are on you in a sense. Well, not all eyes are on you. Well, yeah, because the assistant got to come to you. The client is looking at you. and they are coming to you for direction. They want your expertise.
Yeah.
And it's something about that when a client comes up to me, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I got 10 million things you can do. I got a ton of ideas. I like how this is looking. I like how that's looking. Let's do this. Let's do that. I like taking charge.
Oh, okay. And I feel you on that aspect.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
Yeah, I like the ego of it, being able to take charge, lead, and direct people, pose people, whatever. Just being the HNIC, I guess. I don't know if that's the PC thing.
I think I understand.
Okay.
I understand. Some may not. Google it.
I do have a final thought I would like to say to your audience. For anybody that's wanting to get into photography, video, graphic design, podcasting, anything creative, any type of creative content, I suggest you do it. Just do it. Sometimes you got to approach these things without the money in mind. You just got to start learning how to do certain things. I see the future of social media, the future of business in general, going towards more the content creator side. So if you are a YouTuber or a photographer, videographer, whatever, if you can create content for yourself, you can create this same content for businesses because businesses need content. So it's a field I would get in. Content creating is we went to college and we joked about this a lot, like, oh, we got to create our jobs, and when YouTubers and all that start being a thing, the joke was that's not a real job, but it kind of is now. I think it is. Every business need content. I know I'm copying that from Flash Film, but it's true. If you have a business, I have a photography business, I need my own content. Something that I need to work on. You need to work on that too. Not trying to put anybody on the bus, but like every business need content. The new office building is social media. If you don't have a social media presence, you don't have a website, you're not in business. So don't get discouraged and just do it. If you want to be a filmmaker or whatever it is, just do it. You're going to fail. That's the only way you're going to learn, and you just got to just do it. Because otherwise you just be wishing that you did it.
I do have another question for you. So what advice would you give 20-year-old version of you? Like, if you could just talk to a younger version of yourself with the knowledge and know-how you have today, what would you tell to yourself?
Me particularly, I would just say don't go to art school. Because obviously, what am I doing with that outside of doing something I didn't go to art school for? But realistically, I would tell myself, all that pressure, all that stress that you feel about going to college and picking a field and sticking in that field and having a career, and because I was never one of those people that like planned out their life or whatever. Don't worry about that, because whatever you want to do, you're gonna fall into it. You're just gonna have to go through some stuff to figure it out. Some people go to school and they know they want to be doctors or lawyers. I went to school and the only thing I knew was I just want to do something creative. And that was it. I didn't know what. I thought it would be animation. I thought it would be gaming. It ended up being photography. So if I could go back and give my 20 or my younger self some advice, it would be to just stop stressing out about the future and just try to enjoy that time in your life for what it is, because you did not enjoy that time in your life. And, just not be so stressed about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people at that age, they stress over having everything figured out. Especially, I think that's one negative about social media in today's society is people do a lot of comparing of themselves to others.
I agree.
That's one bad thing about social media. It's a lot of comparison, and people don't realize that you're running your own race. Do not compare yourself to the next person. And that's tough, especially with social media, because a lot of times you're following people that are close to you, and you know where they come from, you know what they went through, and it's like, oh man, why didn't I get? It's like, well, I'm not a millionaire. This person grew up down the street from me. How do they have 5 Teslas and 3 mansions already at 22?
It's about the opportunities you take and the ones you don't take. I feel
or the
like
ones you never even get a chance to take.
Right,
so
or the ones you never
get a chance
to take.
That's why you can't even compare yourself to other people.
And I was one of those people. I compared myself to my friends and was like, oh, we're the same age, and like you just said, grew up down the street from each other. Why are you doing this and I'm doing that? And that I'm gonna be honest, that's been one of the things that's held me up as an adult, was because I compared myself to other people instead of just focusing in on the lane that I was in and being not content with it, because you don't want to be content with it. If you want to progress in life, you gotta, hit a couple walls or whatever. But if you stay content, you're never gonna grow. And I've done that so many times where I was content with where I was. I literally stopped growing that moment.
Yeah.
So just don't be content with anything. And like I said, it's all about the opportunities you take and the opportunities you don't take. Yeah. I know that sounds confusing. I can explain that.
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Opportunities. You either gonna take it or you don't take it. Or when you're comparing yourself, you not even had the chance to take it or not take it. Right. Because it wasn't for you.
Especially when it comes to comparing yourself, because you miss the lanes your road is going down. Yeah. When you do that. Like, I've missed so many other lanes that I could have went on because I was so focused on comparing myself to my best friend, to they best friend, to they mama and they daddy and other kids across the country who I never even met before, just because I'm like, why do some people have it easier than me? Why am I not, like you said, a millionaire at 22 or something like that? Well, that's not where my road was leading. But if I had paid attention, my road would have led me to that same place that I wanted to be at a lot sooner. But I was so focused on what the next car got in their lane.
Right, yeah.
I missed my exits a couple of times on that road. So, yeah.
It's a good analogy. That's so true. Where do you see photography in the next 10 years? In the next 10 years, where do you see photography? And then where do you see cosplay photography going? Like, what do you think the future of it is?
Okay. The second part of that question, I think I kind of answered earlier. But I'm going to do it. Where do I see the future of photography in the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Cell phones. Everything's going to be done on your cell phone.
Like what? What do you mean?
I think, look at cell phones now, because we talked about the iPhone 13 and just like how that camera system is like, if you can't outshoot an iPhone 13, you need to sell your camera. But I think like with how technology has advanced, especially with like computer chips and things like that, cameras have gotten already smaller with the mirrorless. They're only going to get smaller. The next logical step for photography is to put it in your pocket. Because look at internet's in your pocket, your phone's in your pocket, your computer's in your pocket. If you're that one device that can already do all these things, can take quality DSLR pictures, and you can do the same thing that we can do with our DSLRs, it's in the next 10 years it's going to happen. It's already happening now. So I think photography is going to cell phones. It's going to get smaller. Cameras are going to get smaller. They're going to be more instant. People are going to want more instant prints and things like that. Like, hey, take the picture and instantly put it up on Facebook versus having to edit stuff or anything. So yeah, I think it's going towards cell phones. You'll be able to have a whole photo shoot, edit the photo shoot all on your phone, and send it to a client.
Does that scare you as a photographer?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not one of those old school photographers that like didn't switch over from that failed to switch over from film to digital. And I'm like, I'm fairly young, so I think I can catch up with the curve and things like that. And they're already doing it. I've already seen photographers don't even have actual DSLRs. They'll show up with an iPhone and just light it good and have great images, have great video. So it's already happening now. So it's only the next logical progression. I don't think that's the case for videography because there's more to it, especially filmmaking. But if you just doing pictures and some simple headshots, like the iPhone already can black out the background and add fake bokeh and do all this and that. And it just do it. It just do it. They ain't got to wait 2 weeks for pictures to come back. So
Right. Okay. What about cosplay photography? Specifically.
Cosplay photography, like I said, I think I brought it up earlier, but it's just going to be more commonplace. It's just going to be more a part of everyday life. Like how jocks were 20 years ago. Jocks were the the top cream of the crop type of social class. Now it's geeks culture and things like that. So that's only going to bring cosplay photography more to the forefront. You're going to see more cosplay weddings. You're going to see more businesses focus more towards like geek culture and people who are into geek culture. You already see it now, and especially with how print media and a lot of things are dying out, everything's going to be digital. It's already digital, and everything's going to be more nerdy, more tech savvy, less macho butch type of thing. I think, if that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, somewhat.
Okay, but I think it's just going to be more commonplace. It's just going to be, it's going to be less I don't want to say clue. No, that's not the right word. It's just going to be more commonplace. Like, people won't question cosplay photography in 10, 15 years because it's just normal photography by that point, I think.
I hear you. Okay. Man, I really appreciate you being here today.
I enjoyed being here.
Thanks for being here for my first YouTube video / interview / podcast. I don't know, man. I'm going to chop it up and put it together and see what happens. Look, I appreciate you being here for the first one.
Thank you. Thank you. You are a man host.
Yeah. A what host?
Man. You just
a man. Yeah, thank you. I'll take it. Thank you.
Okay.
Better than
being bad, yeah.
Yeah, better than bad.
It's hot, this water
hey,
hot.
man. For a first time, I'll take man.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
So you only got one place to go. What's up? Because this.
That's the way. This is a genuine smile. Thank you. Yes, man. It's better than
I don't
go one way.
consider this a failure or anything. This is pretty good. You got everything set up, so you did it. Now you know how to improve on it.
Yes. What we talk about? Failure, baby. You gotta just start.
Right. You gotta just start. Because some people, I'm gonna go on a tangent.
Okay.
I feel like I need to vent. Some people will just buy gear and they'll watch stuff and they'll read and they'll like, oh, I know all this stuff, and never practice it. And when they go to practice, they just fail, and then they give up, and then they keep buying more gear, and then they keep telling you how to run your business, and then they tell you that you need to have a grain of salt with certain people tell you about how to run your business, and you like, but shouldn't I be doing that with you, the person giving me the advice?
Hey,
I'm sorry, I just had to vent.
It's okay. I don't know where that came from. That's some personal things you're going through.
It's personal. I'm just saying, the point I'm getting at is, don't be like those people. At least do something. If you're going to do content creation, you're going to spend money on gear, learn how to use it. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to practice, because practice makes perfect. You don't want to get out in front of a client who paying you money and all you do is fail. You'll never have another client a day in your life. Practice, and fail. Practice and fail, and practice.
And learn from those failures.
Right, and practice learning from the failures.
The
failures, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, where can people find you?
Okay. So people can find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Blerdography. It's on the shirt. Right here. Cool. Oh, and on YouTube, Blerdography. I do. Let me try that again. So people can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, just everywhere. Just put in Blerdography, or you can type in Marc Leary of Photography. You literally will find both. And I really want people to go to my YouTube, check out Blerdography. I do cosplay photo shoots and cosplay nerdy interviews with other black geeks of geekdom. I don't know, it's weird. And my website blerdography.com, marcleary.com. Put everything down in lower thirds, and yeah, come see what we're doing on that side. It's fun. You'll have fun. Where can people find you?
That's a great. You know what? That's a great question. I just wasn't expecting it. You know what? I don't even know, man. Look, I do know. On Instagram, you can find me on Instagram, MSW Creative.
That's not the name of your channel.
That's not the name of the channel. The name of the channel, though, is Content Bebop. The Content Bebop. That is the name of the channel, which is not up on Instagram or any other social platform yet. But particularly myself, you can find me on Instagram at MSW Creative. Like I said, it's the first episode. Just give me a little time, and I will put together these other these other platforms, the situations.
I really hope that name is not taken in the domain when you go to GoDaddy later tonight. I'm gonna be so upset because that's such a good name for this.
I'm gonna be upset too, but I don't think it is because
It shouldn't be.
No one's gonna put the two together. I don't think. That's one reason I even chose the name because I don't think there's gonna be much competition. But yeah, man. Look, you all listening or watching wherever you're at, I appreciate you tuning in. Even if you made it this far into the video or audio podcast, wherever you're tuning in from, I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on the Content Bebop, and hopefully this will not be the last one.
It won't.
I hope not.
I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna come over here. Like, let's record another one. You got everything set up now.
Yep. No excuse at this point.
No excuses.
So thanks for tuning in, and
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh yeah, all that stuff too. If you found value, don't just do it for the sake of doing it. But if you found some value, I would appreciate it. Plus, I'm brand new, so I ain't gonna flood your timeline with BS. I would appreciate it. Bye.
You gotta come up with some better stuff, man.
I ain't got no way to cut it. I ain't got no way to end it.